At 2:14 a.m., you are staring at the ceiling, doing panic math. Can I cover rent? What if the car breaks? You might even make good money, but you still feel broke. That's because financial stress isn't a money problem. It's a peace problem. Today, I'm going to show you how to build financial calm. My name is Pa, and I spend an unreasonable amount of time studying something that the entire personal finance industry has managed to completely miss while they're busy selling you investment apps and crypto courses. It is called financial calm. And if you've been chasing money your whole life but can't figure out why you still feel like you're drowning, even when your income goes up, hit subscribe. Because today I'm going to dismantle the biggest lie the money world has ever told you, that the solution to financial stress is more money. It is not. And the fact that you believe it is exactly why you are still staring at that ceiling at 2 a.m. Here is the thing that nobody in the financial advice space wants to say out loud, because it doesn't sell products, it doesn't generate clicks, and it doesn't make anyone a commission. Financial stress is not a money problem, it is a peace problem. I know that sounds like some bumper sticker bullshit, so let me prove it to you with actual humans. I know people making $47,000 a year who sleep like they resedated, 8 hours, no alarm anxiety, no midnight math. They wake up, drink their coffee, go to work, come home, live their lives. Their bank account isn't impressive. Their car is boring, their apartment is fine. But they have something that people earning 3 times their salary would kill for. They have calm. And I know people pulling in $160,000, $180,000, sometimes north of $200,000 who are just as stressed as you are. Different numbers, same ceiling. They're lying awake wondering if they're saving enough, wondering if the market is going to crash, wondering if they can actually afford the house they already bought, wondering if their lifestyle is sustainable or if they're one layoff away from the whole thing collapsing. They make 4 times what the calm person makes, and they have 0 times the peace. How the hell does that happen? It happens because money and peace are not the same thing. They're not even correlated the way you think they are. You can have a lot of money and 0 peace. You can have modest money and deep, genuine, unshakable calm. The variable isn't income. The variable is structure. The variable is whether you've built the psychological and financial architecture that makes peace possible, or whether you are just earning more money and pouring it into the same broken system that was already failing you at $40,000. Most people are doing the second thing. They get a raise and their stress doesn't go down. It just gets more expensive. They upgrade the apartment, they upgrade the car, they upgrade the restaurants. The income went up $30,000 and the anxiety went up with it because now there is more to lose, more to maintain, more payments, more obligations, and the same $214 in check ing account, feeling just with nicer furniture. This is what the financial industry will never tell you. The answer to financial stress isn't earning more, it is building calm. And calm has a specific architecture. It has building blocks, it has a sequence, and almost nobody follows it because it is boring, it is slow, and it doesn't look good on Instagram. Let me walk you through it. Every single piece. Flock 1, the calm buffer. Every financial guru on the planet will tell you the first step is to make more money or start investing or build passive income. And I need you to understand how catastrophically wrong that advice is for someone who is lying awake doing panic math. The first step isn't making more money. The first step is putting a floor underneath your life so that the next time something breaks, and something will break because that is how life works. It doesn't send you into a psychological tailspin. I am talking about $1,000, that is it. $1,000 in a savings account that you don't touch. Not for shoes, not for a road trip, not for I'll pay myself back. You don't touch it unless something is genuinely on fire, metaphorically or literally. And I can already hear some of you thinking, $1,000, that is not going to change my life. And you're right, $1,000 isn't going to fund your retirement. It is not going to make you wealthy. It is not going to solve the systemic problems that got you here. But here is what it does do. And this is the part that nobody talks about because it can't be quantified on a spreadsheet. It changes the way your brain operates. When you have 0 savings, 0 buffer, 0 cushion, 0 margin, your brain is running survival software 24 hours a day. Every unexpected expense is a crisis. Every weird noise from your car is a potential disaster. Every bill that arrives is a threat. Your nervous system is operating at a level of alertness that was designed for running from predators. Except the predator is a $400 car repair, and you can outrun it because it is in your driveway. When you have $1,000 sitting there, untouched, boring, doing nothing exciting, that same car repair isn't a crisis anymore. It is an inconvenience. It is annoying. It ruins your week, but It doesn't ruin your month. It doesn't ruin your sleep. It doesn't send you into a shame spiral where you're dodging calls from friends because you can't afford to exist socially. You write the check, you're frustrated, but you're okay. And okay might not sound like much, but if you've been living without it, you know damn well that okay is everything. Research backs this up. By the way, studies show that having even a small emergency fund, as little as $2,000, is the single strongest predictor of financial well-being. Not income, not investment returns, not net worth, just having a small pile of money between you and disaster. That is your first block. Not sexy, not exciting, not going viral on TikTok. But it is the single most important thing you can do for your financial psychology. Build the buffer, then we talk about everything else. Block 2. Control fund real control, not that obsessive spreadsheet nonsense. Here is where the financial advice industry has really screwed you. They've convinced you that being good with money means tracking every single cent like some kind of forensic accountant. Download the app, categorize every transaction, review your spending weekly, set budget limits for 47 different categories, code your expenses. That is not control. That is a part-time job with no pay. That is financial OCD marketed as responsibility. And it burns people out in about 6 weeks, which is why 90% of people who start budgeting quit within 2 months. The system is designed to make you feel like a failure, so you'll buy the premium version of the app. Real control is much simpler and much more powerful. Real control is just knowing where your money goes. That is it. Not judging it, not optimizing it, not turning your financial life into a competitive sport. Just seeing it, most people have no idea. They check their account and money has just vanished. Where the hell did it go? Was it groceries? Was it that Amazon order at 1 a.m.? Was it subscriptions? They literally don't know. Money enters their account and exits their account, and they're just along for the ride, like a passenger in their own financial life. So here's what you do. For 1 month, just one, write down everything you spend, everything. The $4.79 cereal, the $6.5 coffee, the $14.99 subscription you forgot you had, the $47 Uber Eats order you placed because you were too tired to cook. All of it. Don't change anything, don't cut anything, don't guilt yourself, just watch. And here is what actually happens when people do this. They find $200 to $400 per month in spending they didn't know existed. Not luxuries they're choosing, spending they forgot about. The gym membership they haven't used since January, $49 a month, still auto-drafting. The streaming service they signed up for to watch one show and never canceled, $15.99. The app subscription that was free for 7 days and has been charging $9.99 every month for the last 8 months. $79.92, just gone. The meal delivery kit they tried once, still going, $62 a month. That is $207 a month that vanished into thin air. That is $2,484 a year. That is money that could have been your calm buffer in 5 months. That is money that could have been paying down your credit card debt. That is money that could have been building your future. Instead, it is funding a gym you don't go to, shows you don't watch, and food you didn't eat. And the moment you see it, you have a choice. Some of it you cut because it is obviously garbage. Some of it you keep because it actually matters to you. But, and this is the critical part, you're choosing, for maybe the first time in your financial life, you're actually making decisions about your money. Instead of just watching it disappear and wondering why you're always broke. That is control, and control creates calm. Not because you suddenly have more money, but because you're not a passenger anymore. You're driving, and there is an enormous psychological difference between money happens to me and I decide what happens with my money. One makes you feel helpless, the other makes you feel human. Block 3. Kill the debt that is killing you, friend. Not all debt is equal. I need to say that up front because the internet has this weird obsession with debt being universally evil, and that is not true. A mortgage on a house you can actually afford, that is leveraged shelter, it is fine. Student loans that funded a degree that actually increases your earning power, debatable, but there is a logic to it. A car loan on a reasonable vehicle at a reasonable rate, not ideal, but manageable. But credit card debt at 22% interest, that is not debt. That is a parasitic organism attached to your financial life, feeding on you while you sleep. Here is the math. UV got $5,000 on a credit card at 22% APR. You are making minimum payments, let us call it $125 a month. At that rate, it takes you 62 months to pay it off. That is over 5 years, and you pay $2,758 in interest alone. You borrowed $5,000 and paid back $7,758. That extra $2,758 didn't buy you anything. It didn't improve your life. It just evaporated into the pockets of a credit card company that is already making record profits. And here is what makes it truly insidious. While you're carrying that balance every single day, interest is accruing. It is working against you in your sleep. You wake up owing more than you did when you went to bed. You literally get poorer while unconscious. That is not a financial product, that is a financial weapon pointed at your head. But the worst part isn't the money. The worst part is the weight. You know what I'm talking about? That constant background hum of stress that never fully goes away. Every time you swipe your card, there is a little voice that is going on the balance. Every time you see the statement, there is a sinking feeling. Every time someone talks about savings or investing, there is this shame because, you can't even think about that stuff until this thing is gone. It is sitting on your chest. It is in every room with you. It is in your relationship. It is in your sleep. It is in that fake smile you put on when your coworker talks about their vacation plans and you're wondering how you're going to cover minimum payments next month. I've talked to people who paid off their credit card debt and they describe it the same way every single time. They say it felt like someone lifted a physical weight off their body, like they could breathe for the first time in years, like they forgot what it felt like to not be carrying it. That is not financial advice. That is a hostage situation, and eliminating that debt is the ransom payment for your own peace of mind. So here's what you do. Stop using the cards today, right now. Don't cut them up dramatically for Instagram, just stop. Take them out of your wallet, delete them from your online accounts, remove the temptation, then take every spare dollar, every dollar that isn't going to rent, food, transportation, and your calm buffer, and throw it at the highest interest rate card first, then the next one, then the next one. The debt avalanche method, it is not glamorous, it is not fast, but every payment is one step closer to being able to breathe again. Block 4, confidence through small wins. This is where the psychology gets interesting. And it is the part that most financial advice completely ignores because it can't be turned into a spreadsheet. Financial calm isn't just about security. It is about genuinely believing in your gut, not just intellectually, that you can handle your own financial life. That you're not helpless, that you're not a victim, that when something goes wrong, you have these skills and the resources and the track record to deal with it. Most people don't believe that about themselves, and why would they? Their entire financial life has been a series of things happening to them. Bills hitting, emergencies striking, money disappearing, debt accumulating. They've never had a financial win. They've never experienced the feeling of setting a money goal and actually hitting it. So they assume they can't. But here's what happens when you save that first $1,000. When you watch it sit there for 3 months without touching it, when you resist the urge to spend it on something stupid, and it is still there, something shifts, not in your bank account, in your identity. You prove something to yourself. You proved you can do a hard thing. You proved you can delay gratification. You proved you can set a goal and achieve it. And that proof compounds faster than any investment. Then you pay off your first credit card, balance 0, and you stare at that 0 like it is a trophy. Because you beat something that felt unbeatable. You climbed out of a hole that you thought was permanent. Another proof point, another brick in the wall of, I can actually do this. Then you negotiate a bill down. You call your insurance company and get $37 a month knocked off. You cancel 3 subscriptions and free up $84. You find $200 a month in spending you didn't know you had and redirect it to your emergency fund. Each one of these is tiny. Each one is boring, nobody claps, nobody notices, but you notice, and your brain notices, and each small win rewires a little more of the neural circuitry that was telling you you're bad with money. And this is just how it is, and people, like, you don't build wealth. That confidence bleeds into everything else. You negotiate harder at work because, you've got 3 months of expenses saved. You don't desperately need this specific job. You can walk away, and people who can walk away get paid more. That is not a theory. That is how power works in every negotiation in human history. You make better decisions in relationships because you're not financially dependent on anyone. You're not staying in a bad situation because you need to split rent. You're not avoiding hard conversations because you can't afford the consequences. You take smarter risks because you have a foundation. You can try the side hustle, apply for the better job, invest in the course. Because you know that if it doesn't work out, you're not going to starve. You've got a buffer, you've got options, you've got proof that you can handle it. That is what small wins build, not just money belief. Block 5, the mindset shift that changes everything. Here is where I'm going to say something that sounds like it belongs on a motivational poster, but I need you to take it seriously. Because this is the difference between people who build financial calm and people who chase money their entire lives and never feel safe. Most people think about money from scarcity. They see every dollar as something that is about to disappear. Saving feels like deprivation, like cutting off their own oxygen. Investing feels like gambling. Spending feels like the only thing money is actually for, because at least you get something out of it before it vanishes. This is the scarcity trap. And it is not your fault. If you grew up without money, if you've been broke for years, if every financial experience you've ever had has been stressful and negative, of course, you think about money this way. Your brain learned that money equals pain, so it avoids anything money related that feels uncomfortable, including saving, including planning, including looking at your accounts. But here is what happens once you've built your buffer, gotten control of your spending, killed the toxic debt, and stacked some small wins. Your brain starts to update its operating system. Not because you read a book about abundance or listen to a podcast about manifesting wealth, because you have evidence, real, tangible, lived evidence that money can work for you instead of against you. You start seeing saving not as deprivation, but as building power. Every dollar saved isn't a dollar you didn't spend, it is a dollar that bought you options. It bought you the ability to say no to things that don't serve you. It bought you the ability to sleep at night. It bought you the ability to walk past the cereal aisle without doing arithmetic. You start seeing investing not as gambling, but as buying your future freedom. You start seeing your career not as a trap you're stuck in, but as something you're choosing because you have options, because you could leave, because you have a buffer and confidence and proof that you can handle whatever comes next. That mindset shift from money is something that happens to me to money is a tool I use to build the life I want. That is the final block. And once it is in place, everything accelerates. You notice opportunities you couldn't see before because your brain wasn't looking for them. It was too busy running survival math. You take action on things you would have dismissed as not for people like me. You build momentum that feeds on itself. And here is the part that the financial industry really doesn't want you to understand. This entire sequence, the buffer, the control, the debt elimination, the confidence, the mindset shift, it doesn't require a high income. It doesn't require luck. It doesn't require a finance degree or a rich uncle or a bull market. It requires patience. It requires discipline. It requires doing boring things consistently for months while nothing dramatic happens and nobody congratulates you. And you don't get a single viral moment out of it. The first $1,000 might take you 4 months. Building to 3 months of expenses might take you a year and a half. Paying off your credit card debt might take you 2 years. The whole foundation might take you 3 to 4 years of quiet, unglamorous, invisible work. And during that entire time, some idiot on the internet is going to be telling you about how he made $50,000 in a weekend trading options. Some influencer is going to show you their passive income that requires $200,000 in startup capital. Some guru is going to sell you a course on getting rich that costs more than your current emergency fund. Ignore all of it, every last bit of it. Those people aren't selling you a path to wealth. They're selling you a fantasy that keeps you from doing the boring work that actually produces results. The people who actually build financial calm, who actually sleep at night, who actually stop doing panic math at 2 a.m., who actually walk through the grocery store without mental arithmetic. They didn't get there by finding a shortcut. They got there by building a foundation, block by boring block, until one day they looked up and realized the ceiling wasn't staring back at them anymore because they weren't awake to see it. Here's the truth that ties this whole thing together, and I need you to hear it because it goes against everything. The money world is screaming at you right now. You don't need more money. You need more structure. You don't need a raise. You need a buffer. You don't need a better investment. You need to stop hemorrhaging cash on subscriptions you forgot about. You don't need passive income. You need to kill the debt that is eating you alive. The financial industry needs you anxious. It needs you chasing. It needs you believing that the answer is always more. More income, more investments, more complexity, more products, more apps, more premium memberships, more courses, because anxious people buy things, calm people don't. And that is the real scam. The system doesn't profit from your peace, it profits from your panic. So stop chasing more, start building calm. Not because it is exciting, not because it is fast, not because it'll make a good story, because you deserve to sleep through the night, because you deserve to walk into a grocery store and just buy the damn cereal without doing math, because you deserve to answer your friend's text with yes instead of can't busy, because you deserve a first thought in the morning that isn't your bank account balance. Build the buffer, get control, kill the debt, stack the wins, change the mindset, then wake up one morning and really notice that the ceiling isn't the first thing you see anymore. That is financial calm. and it was never about money.